All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to this deep dive.
Yeah.
And this one is going to be awesome. We're going to be diving deep into Brendon Burchard's high performance habits. And, we've heard from you guys that you really want to know the key habits for long-term success and well-being, but without, drowning in a sea of information.
Absolutely.
So that's our mission today, to distill those habits down to the essentials. And the best part is, these habits, they aren't just for super achievers or anything. They're really for anyone who wants to kind of, level up in their life.
Yeah, that's right. It's not about being a CEO or an Olympic athlete. It's about those fundamental habits that can truly make a difference in anyone's life.
Exactly. It's like if success was a recipe, we're giving you those, those key ingredients.
Yeah.
So to kick things off, what's the first thing that surprised you about Burchard's approach?
Well, the first thing that really stood out to me was the idea that high performers, they're not born different.
Yeah, right.
It's not some kind of genetic lottery. He just completely debunks that myth.
Oh.
It's all about cultivating specific habits over time. And he emphasizes that anyone can do it. And what I really appreciate is the book is deeply rooted in scientific research. So it's not just motivational fluff.
Yeah, that's great because, sometimes you read these self-help books and you're like, okay, this is great, but is there any science behind it?
Yeah, exactly. And this one really delivers on that front. It's grounded, and it makes it feel much more credible.
Awesome. So we don't have to rewrite our DNA or anything.
Nope. No need for genetic engineering.
Okay, that's a relief. But you mentioned cultivating habits, and that sounds like a long game, right?
It is a journey, for sure. But that's the beauty of habits, right?
Yeah.
They build on each other. And he lays out 6 core habits.
Okay.
Clarity, energy, necessity, productivity, influence, and courage.
Okay, 6, I can handle that. But, I think a lot of us, we struggle with that first one, clarity.
Yeah.
We can make a to-do list, but beyond that, it's what am I really doing?
Right, and Burchard takes a really fascinating approach to clarity. He says high performers don't just set goals, they define how they want to be remembered.
Ooh, okay.
It's imagine your eulogy.
Yeah,
right?
okay, yeah.
What's that one thing you'd be proud to have people say about you?
Wow, that got deep fast. Okay, I'm starting to see how that connects to bigger values, not just hitting deadlines.
Exactly. And that long-term vision helps you prioritize what really matters.
Yeah, for sure. But how do we translate that, big picture thinking into daily action? That seems like a big leap.
Well, he offers some really practical tools. One of them is journaling.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking the time to capture those big picture thoughts and to kind of check in with yourself. Are my actions aligned with the person I want to be remembered as?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's like having a North Star guiding you even when you're doing those, mundane, everyday tasks.
Exactly. It helps you stay focused on what truly matters.
Okay, I'm liking this. But, let's be real, a lot of us are just exhausted these days. How do high performers, how do they stay energized when it feels like we're all running on fumes?
They've kind of cracked the code when it comes to energy.
Okay.
They see it as a renewable resource, not something you just burn through.
Oh, interesting.
So obviously, sleep and exercise are important, but Burchard goes deeper. He talks about things like mindful breathing.
Okay.
Just taking 5 minutes to just breathe.
Oh, wow.
Can actually be way more energizing than scrolling social media for an hour.
Wait, are you telling me that intentional breathing is the secret weapon I've been missing this whole time?
It might be. And it's not just breathing. It's about being intentional about what recharges you specifically.
Yeah, that makes sense. Some people, they get energized by going for a walk by themselves. Some people, they need to chat with a friend or something.
Right. It's about knowing your recipe and making it non-negotiable.
Okay, this is making me rethink my whole power through exhaustion approach. So we've got clarity, we've got energy, but how do we take it up a notch? How do we move from, wanting to achieve something to absolutely needing it?
That's where this idea of raising necessity comes in.
Okay.
It's about tapping into that deep down motivation, that driving force.
Oh, so it's more than just, oh, this would be nice to achieve. It's I have to do this.
Exactly. It's about finding your why.
Okay, I'm with you. So Burchard talks about connecting goals to things like duty, service, even identity, right?
Yeah, he gives a great example in the book about, someone who's trying to, get healthier, and they're not really making much progress until they frame it as, I need to be healthy so I can be there for my kids, for years to come.
Oh, yeah. So it's not just about fitting into a certain outfit or something. It's about something much bigger.
Exactly. It's about aligning your goals with something that truly matters to you.
Okay, that's powerful. But what if you're still stuck in that want mode? Like, what are some, I don't know, more creative ways to, like, kickstart that necessity?
Burchard actually has some, let's call them bold tactics. Like, imagine telling your entire team that you'll hit a certain target.
Oh, yeah.
That public commitment, it adds a level of pressure, but also, like, serious motivation.
Yeah, right. Because then it's not just letting yourself down, it's letting other people down.
Exactly. And that can be a powerful motivator.
So we've got clarity, we've got energy, we've got necessity. What's the next ingredient in this high-performance recipe?
Everyone's favorite, productivity.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait to hear about this one.
But Burchard flips the script on productivity.
Okay.
It's not about just being busy. It's about what he calls prolific quality output, or PQO.
PQO. Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's about focusing on the tasks that truly move the needle, not just filling your day with busy work.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. Less overwhelm, more impact. But how do we figure out what our PQO even is?
It's a process of self-discovery, and there are a few key questions to ask yourself. First, what activities, if done exceptionally well, would have the biggest impact on your work?
Okay, that's a good starting point. But what if a million things feel important? How do you separate the vital few from the trivial many?
That's where the second question comes in. What are the tasks that only you can do?
Yeah.
Leveraging your unique skills and strengths.
Oh, right. It's a reminder that not everything needs to be on your plate. Delegate, automate, or eliminate the tasks that someone else can handle.
Exactly.
Delegation, the word that simultaneously excites and terrifies me.
I know. It can be a tough one. But it's crucial for focusing on your PQO.
It's about, like, stepping into your zone of genius, basically.
Precisely. And there's actually a third question to consider.
Okay, what's that?
This one's all about alignment, so.
Yeah.
Which activities, if done consistently, would make you feel most proud and fulfilled?
Ooh, that's a good one. Because, let's be honest, true productivity, it's not just about checking boxes. It's about doing work that you actually enjoy.
Exactly. It's about finding that intersection between effectiveness and enjoyment.
I'm definitely feeling a shift from, like, productivity to, okay, this could actually be awesome. Is that weird?
Not at all. It's about reclaiming productivity as a source of energy and fulfillment, not a drain.
Okay, I'm on board with that. So once you've identified your PQO, how do you, like, actually protect it in your daily life?
Burchard offers some really practical tips.
Yeah.
One of them is time blocking, actually scheduling dedicated blocks of time for your most important work.
Yeah, I've tried that, but, like, distractions are the worst. It's like my brain is addicted to notifications.
I hear you. But there are ways to combat those distractions.
Okay, good.
Burchard suggests minimizing those distractions during your PQO time blocks. So turning off notifications, silencing your phone, maybe even physically removing it from your workspace.
Oh, the phone exile. I've heard about that, but honestly, it sounds terrifying. What if someone needs to reach me?
That's the fear talking.
Yeah.
In reality, how many messages truly require immediate attention?
Yeah, you're right.
Most things can wait for an hour while you focus on your PQO.
Okay, good point.
Yeah.
And speaking of focusing, didn't we talk about those trigger moments earlier?
Yeah. Those are those intentional cues to help you shift into work mode.
So, like, if you put on your workout clothes, your brain knows it's exercise time.
Exactly.
So trigger moments are like a specific playlist or a mantra or even just lighting a certain candle at your desk. Right?
Exactly. It's about hacking your brain's associations to boost productivity.
Oh, I like it. I'm definitely adding Find My Trigger Moment to my to-do list.
Great.
Okay, so we've got clarity, energy, necessity, productivity. What about influence? Because, that one can feel a bit, I don't know, icky.
I know.
Like we're trying to, like, manipulate people or something.
Yeah, it can definitely have that connotation.
Yeah.
But Burchard's approach to influence is very different.
Okay, good.
He starts by saying that true influence isn't about forcing your ideas on others.
Right.
It's about earning trust and respect by being genuine, being competent, and adding value to people's lives.
Okay, I'm feeling much better about this already. I'd much rather inspire people than manipulate them.
Exactly.
But how do we actually do that? Like, what are the building blocks of authentic influence?
He emphasizes 3 key elements. First, be genuine. People can spot a fake a mile away,
Yeah, for sure.
Second, be competent. Know your stuff and show up prepared.
Okay, makes sense. And the third?
Focus on adding value. Ask yourself, how can I help the people around me?
Oh, that's good.
Whether it's offering support, sharing knowledge, or just listening,
Yeah.
The more value you provide, the more influence you naturally earn.
It's like the more you give, the more you get back, but in a non-manipulative way.
Exactly. It's about building genuine connections.
But let's be honest, sometimes we do need to, persuade people to get things done, right?
Right. And Burchard acknowledges that.
Okay, good.
He offers some great advice on how to do it ethically.
Oh, good.
It's about understanding other people's needs and motivations, communicating clearly, and finding win-win solutions.
Oh, that's good, yeah. So you can be strategic without being sleazy.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between asserting your own ideas and respecting other perspectives.
That's a really good distinction. And now for the final habit we'll cover today, courage. This one feels, I don't know, big, maybe even a little scary.
It can be, for sure.
What's Burchard's take on courage?
He reframes it beautifully. He says courage isn't the absence of fear.
Yeah.
It's acting despite fear.
Oh, I like that. So it's not about not feeling afraid. It's about doing it anyway.
Exactly. And he talks about recognizing fear as a signpost pointing toward growth.
Ooh, that's good. Like not a stop sign, but a signpost.
Right. It's a signal that you're on the right track, that you're pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone.
I can definitely relate to that. I've been terrified to do certain things, but then pushing through that fear has led to some of my biggest breakthroughs.
That's exactly it. And remember, courage doesn't have to be these grand, heroic acts.
No, right.
It can be something as simple as speaking up in a meeting.
Well, yeah.
Or setting a boundary with a colleague, or even just trying something new that makes you a little uncomfortable.
Okay, that feels more manageable. So before we move on, I'm curious, what's one small act of courage that our listeners could take today to put this into practice?
Here's a simple but powerful one. Share an idea or opinion that you've been holding back on.
Oh, yeah.
It could be in a work meeting, a conversation with a friend, or even just posting something online that feels a little vulnerable.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Taking that small step can have a ripple effect, both on your own growth and on the people around you.
I love that. So we've laid out the first 5 ingredients in our high-performance recipe. Clarity, energy, necessity, productivity, and influence. And in the next part, we'll dive into the final ingredient, courage. Welcome back to our deep dive into high-performance habits. In part 1, we uncovered some seriously powerful ingredients for a high-performance life. We talked about clarity, energy, necessity, even a little bit of courage. But, I'm really itching to revisit that prolific quality output thing.
The PQO?
Yeah, the PQO. It's like the holy grail of productivity, but how do we actually find it? Where do we even begin?
It's not so much about, a magical discovery, but more like strategic excavation.
Yeah.
And Burchard lays out a really great framework for this.
Okay, great.
First, you got to ask yourself, what activities, if done exceptionally well, would have the biggest impact on my work?
Okay, yeah, that's a good starting point. But what if a million things feel important?
Right.
How do I separate the vital few from the trivial many?
That's where the second question comes in. What are the tasks that only I can do?
Yeah.
Leveraging my unique skills and strengths.
Oh, right. It's a reminder that not everything needs to be on my plate.
Exactly.
Delegate, automate, or eliminate the tasks that someone else can handle just as well, if not better.
You got it.
Ah, the delegation, the word that simultaneously excites and terrifies me.
I know, right? It's a powerful tool, though.
It is. But is there a third question that can help us really hone in on our PQO?
Absolutely. This one's all about alignment. Which activities, if done consistently, would make you feel most proud and fulfilled?
Ooh, that's a good one because, let's be honest, true productivity isn't just about checking boxes. It's about doing work that actually lights you up. Yeah.
Exactly. It's about finding that intersection between effectiveness and enjoyment.
I'm definitely feeling a shift from productivity to, okay, this could actually be awesome. Is that weird?
No, not at all. It's about reclaiming productivity as a source of energy and fulfillment, not a drain.
Okay, I'm totally on board with that. So once we've identified our PQO, how do we actually protect it in our daily lives? Distractions are everywhere.
Right, they are. But Burchard offers some really practical tips, and one of them that I found super helpful is time blocking.
Oh, yeah, time blocking. That's a classic.
But it's about, really being intentional with it. Schedule those dedicated blocks of time for your most important work, your PQO time.
Yeah, I've tried that, but honestly, distractions are the worst. It's like my brain has an addiction to notifications.
Yeah, I know. It's a real struggle. But there are ways to combat those distractions,
Okay, good. Tell me more.
Burchard suggests minimizing those distractions during those PQO blocks of time. So turn off notifications, silencing your phone,
Okay.
maybe even like physically removing it from your workspace.
Oh, the phone exile.
Yeah.
I've heard about that, but honestly, it sounds terrifying. Like, what if someone needs to reach me?
That's the fear talking.
Yeah.
In reality, how many messages truly require immediate attention?
You're right, probably not many.
Most things can wait for an hour while you focus on your most important work.
Okay, good point. And speaking of focusing, didn't we talk about those trigger moments earlier?
Yes, those intentional cues to
Yeah.
help you shift into work mode.
Yeah, like if you put on your workout clothes, your brain knows it's exercise time.
Exactly.
So trigger moments, they can be like a specific playlist or a mantra, or even just lighting a certain candle at your desk.
Exactly. It's about hacking those associations in your brain to really boost your productivity.
Ooh, I like it. I'm definitely adding Find My Trigger Moment to my to-do list.
I love it.
Okay, so we've got clarity, we've got energy, we've got necessity, we've got productivity. What about influence?
Yes.
That one can feel a bit, I don't know, icky sometimes.
Yeah, no, you were
Like we're trying to manipulate people or something.
right. It can definitely have that connotation. But Burchard's approach to influence is really different.
Okay, good.
He emphasizes that true influence isn't about forcing your ideas on others or being manipulative. It's about earning trust and respect by being genuine, by being competent, and by adding value to people's lives.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. I'd much rather inspire people than, manipulate them.
Exactly.
But how do we actually do that? Like what are the building blocks of authentic influence?
He really emphasizes these three key elements. First, you got to be genuine. People can spot a fake a mile away.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Second, be competent, know your stuff, and show up prepared.
Makes sense.
And the third one is focus on adding value. Ask yourself, how can I help the people around me?
Oh, that's good.
Whether it's offering support or sharing your knowledge or just listening,
Yeah.
the more value you provide, the more influence you'll naturally earn.
It's like the more you give, the more you get back, but in a non-manipulative way.
Exactly. It's about those genuine connections and that genuine support.
But, let's be real. Sometimes we do need to persuade people to get things done right.
Right. And Burchard acknowledges that. And he offers some really valuable insights on how to do it ethically and effectively.
Oh, good.
It's about understanding other people's needs and motivations, communicating clearly,
Right.
and finding those win-win solutions.
Yeah, win-win. That's what we like.
Exactly. And he stresses the importance of listening, being willing to compromise, and finding that common ground.
So you can be strategic without being, sleazy.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot between asserting your own ideas and respecting the perspectives of others.
I'm curious, what's a simple but effective way that our listeners can start developing their influence today?
Here's a great starting point. Ask for feedback. Go to your colleagues, your friends, even your family members, and ask, how do I come across in communication?
Oh, yeah.
What are my strengths and weaknesses when it comes to, influencing others?
Ooh, that's a good one. It takes courage to ask for feedback, but it's so valuable.
It is, because it helps you see yourself through other people's eyes and identify those areas for growth.
And speaking of courage, that's the final habit we explored in part 1. And Burchard's take on courage really resonated with me. It's not about being fearless, it's about acting despite fear.
Exactly.
But for someone who struggles with self-doubt, that can feel, easier said than done. What are some practical tips for overcoming that hesitation and stepping into our courage?
One of Burchard's most powerful suggestions, and I've tried this myself and it's amazing, is to reframe fear as excitement.
Okay.
So instead of thinking, I'm scared to do this, try thinking, I'm excited to see what happens if I do this.
Oh, I like that. So it's like flipping the script from danger to adventure awaits.
Exactly. It's a subtle shift in mindset, but it can make a huge difference.
Are there any other strategies that Burchard recommends for building courage?
Another great tip is to break down those big, scary goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
Oh, yeah, classic advice, but it works.
It does. Because it makes the task feel less overwhelming and more approachable. Instead of focusing on that daunting summit, focus on the next step on the path.
Okay, so baby steps.
Exactly.
What's one small but courageous action that our listeners could take today to start flexing that courage muscle?
Here's a challenge for you. Do something that makes you a little uncomfortable.
Okay.
Something you've been putting off because of fear or self-doubt. It could be having a difficult conversation or expressing your creativity or simply saying no to something you don't want to do,
Oh, that's a good one.
taking that small step can really build your confidence and open up those new possibilities.
That's a great challenge. So we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about identifying our PQO, minimizing distractions, leveraging those trigger moments, building authentic influence, and tapping into our courage. That's a lot to digest. But before we wrap up part 2, I want to circle back to something you said earlier about high performance not being a destination, but a journey. It makes sense, but it also raises a question. How do we sustain this journey without burning out? How do we avoid that trap of constantly striving and never feeling satisfied?
That's a great question, and that's where the practice of gratitude comes in.
Oh, gratitude. Okay.
Burchard really emphasizes the importance of appreciating what we have, celebrating our wins,
Okay.
and recognizing how far we've come. It's about finding joy in the process, not just the outcome.
So it's not about reaching the summit. It's about enjoying the climb itself. I like that analogy.
Exactly, and that's what gratitude allows us to do. It helps us stay present and appreciate the journey.
That makes a lot of sense. If we're always focused on what's next, we miss the beauty of what's right in front of us. But let's be real, gratitude journals and positive affirmations, they can feel a little cheesy sometimes. How do we make gratitude a genuine part of our lives, without it feeling forced?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's not about forcing it. It's about creating space for it.
Okay.
Maybe it's taking 5 minutes each morning to just reflect on what you're grateful for. Maybe it's expressing appreciation to the people you love.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's simply pausing throughout the day to notice the good things, big or small.
So it's about being more present, more mindful of the good stuff instead of letting it just pass us by.
Exactly.
But, what about those times when things get tough? When we hit a roadblock or experience a setback, How do we maintain that high performance mindset when we're feeling discouraged?
That's where resilience comes in.
Oh, resilience. Okay.
And Burchard emphasizes that high performers, they aren't immune to challenges,
Right.
They just have a different way of approaching them.
Okay.
They see setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow, not as failures that define them.
So it's not about avoiding failure. It's about bouncing back from it, stronger than before.
Exactly. And I think we're starting to see how all these habits that we've been talking about, the clarity, the energy, the necessity, the productivity, the influence, the courage, and now even gratitude,
Yeah.
they all work together to create this inner strength, this resilience that helps us navigate the ups and downs of life.
It's like weaving a tapestry.
Yes.
Each thread, each habit contributes to the overall strength and beauty of the final creation.
I love that analogy. And remember, it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
High performance is about that continuous growth and evolution, not about reaching some state of perfection.
So it's not about being on all the time. It's about having this intentionality about how we live our lives,
Exactly.
It's about making choices that support our well-being and our goals, even when it's hard. And it's about being kind to ourselves along the way.
You've got it. High performance isn't about striving for some unattainable ideal. It's about becoming the best version of ourselves, day by day, step by step.
I love that. So for our listeners who are feeling inspired and ready to embark on their own high-performance journey, what's one key takeaway they can put into practice right away?
My advice would be start small. Choose one habit, just one, that really resonates with you, and commit to practicing it consistently. Whether it's for a week, a month, even just a day, and just notice how it feels, how it impacts your life. Remember, progress over perfection.
Beautifully said. And as we transition to part 3, I'm curious, how do we integrate these seemingly separate habits into a cohesive whole?
That's a great question, and that's exactly what we'll be exploring in the final part of our deep dive.
Ooh, can't wait.
We'll look at how these habits work together, how they can be adapted to different situations, and how to create a sustainable, high-performance lifestyle that feels authentic and fulfilling.
Sounds like we've got a lot to unpack in part 3. Don't miss it, listeners, as we wrap up our deep dive into high-performance habits. We'll leave you with some final thoughts and actionable takeaways to help you integrate these powerful principles into your own life. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into high-performance habits. We've covered so much ground, clarity, energy, necessity, productivity, influence, even courage. It's like we've assembled this incredible toolkit for a high-performance life.
We have.
But now I'm wondering, how do we put all the pieces together?
Right. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not enough to just know about these habits.
Right.
We need to understand how they work together.
Yeah.
How they become more than just a checklist. you know?
Exactly. Because let's be honest, who wants to live life like constantly checking boxes?
Right.
It sounds exhausting.
It is. And that's where Burchard's emphasis on the bigger picture comes in, you know?
Yeah.
He reminds us that high performance isn't just about external achievements. It's about living a life of meaning and purpose.
So it's not about being a, like, productivity robot.
No.
It's about feeling good about the work you're doing.
Yes.
And the impact you're making. It's about feeling energized, not just busy.
You got it. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're challenged and growing, but also feeling balanced and aligned with your values. It's about creating a life you're proud of, a life that reflects who you truly are.
Okay, I'm feeling that. But how do we get there? Like, we've talked about setting these big goals, pushing ourselves, avoiding complacency. But doesn't that sound a bit like, I don't know, a recipe for never feeling satisfied? Like, there's always another mountain to climb.
That's a really valid concern, and Burchard addresses it head on. He talks about this thing called the arrival fallacy.
Okay.
This idea that once we achieve a certain goal,
Yeah.
then we'll finally be happy.
Right.
But the truth is, happiness isn't a destination, it's a way of traveling.
So it's not about reaching the summit, it's about enjoying the climb itself.
Exactly.
I like that analogy.
And that's where the habit of fostering gratitude comes in, you know?
Oh, gratitude. Okay.
It's about appreciating what we have,
Yeah.
celebrating our wins, and acknowledging how far we've come, even if we haven't reached the peak yet.
That makes a lot of sense. If we're always focused on what's next, we miss the beauty of what's right in front of us.
Right.
But, you know, let's be real. Gratitude journals and positive affirmations can feel a little, I don't know, cheesy sometimes.
Yeah.
How do we make gratitude like a genuine part of our lives?
You hit the nail on the head. It's not about forcing it. It's about creating space for it.
Okay.
Maybe it's taking 5 minutes each morning to just reflect on what you're grateful for. Maybe it's expressing appreciation to the people you love.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's simply pausing throughout the day to notice the good things, big or small.
So it's about being more present, more mindful of the good stuff, instead of letting it just pass us by. But what about those times when, you know, things get tough, when we hit a roadblock or experience a setback? How do we maintain that high-performance mindset when we're feeling, you know, discouraged?
That's where resilience comes in.
Oh, resilience. Okay.
And Burchard emphasizes that high performers, they aren't immune to challenges.
Right.
They just have a different way of approaching them.
Yeah.
They see setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow, not as failures that define them.
So it's not about avoiding failure. It's about, like, bouncing back from it stronger than before.
Exactly. And I think we're starting to see how all these habits that we've been talking about, the clarity, the energy, the necessity, the productivity, the influence, the courage, and now even gratitude,
Yeah.
they all work together to create this inner strength, this resilience that helps us navigate the ups and downs of life.
It's like weaving a tapestry.
Yes.
Each thread, each habit contributes to the overall strength and beauty of the final creation.
I love that analogy.
Huh.
And remember, it's an ongoing process, you know. High performance is about continuous growth and evolution,
Right.
not about reaching some like state of perfection.
So it's not about being on all the time. It's about having this intentionality about how we live our lives.
Exactly.
It's about making choices that support our well-being and our goals, even when it's hard. And it's about being kind to ourselves along the way.
You've captured the essence of it. High performance isn't about striving for some unattainable ideal. It's about becoming the best versions of ourselves, day by day, step by step.
I love that. So for our listeners who are feeling inspired and ready to, you know, embark on their own high performance journey, what's one key takeaway they can put into practice right away?
Start small, you know.
Okay.
Choose one habit that resonates with you and commit to practicing it consistently. You know, whether for a week, a month, even just a day, and just notice how it feels, how it impacts your life. And remember, progress over perfection.
Beautifully said. And as we wrap up this deep dive into high performance habits, we want to leave you with this final thought. High performance isn't a destination reserved for a select few. It's a path available to anyone willing to cultivate the habits that support their well-being and their goals.
So go out there, experiment, find what works for you. And remember, the journey itself is the reward.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep performing at your best.